By the end of Invincible's run, I think this will probably be one of my favorite shows of all time, and even throwing further, episode 5 keeps up its continuing streak with being not just an amazing show, but one of the best shows running right now. It's the show that every single week, it's the one that I'm like, I'm craving and I'm needing this in my life, and in fact, it's the one that I get quite reactionary to, especially if you've seen this episode. By the last 10 minutes, I was flipping out. My jaw hit the floor. I was just so into this, and this is one of the best shows running right now. So before we get any further, guys, if you guys are new here and you love talking Invincible, or in general, you're just a geek like me, hit that like and subscribe button so we can keep talking movies over here and TV on a daily basis, as well as comment down below and let me know your guys' thoughts. What are your thoughts on this episode of Invincible? And just so you know, in this review, this will be a non-spoiler and a spoiler review. Since I did get the episode early from Prime Video, thank you so much, Prime. There are certain things that they asked me to do not reveal, but there are certain things that I will still discuss that might be spoilers to some people. But in general, guys, we're going to have a great discussion down that below in that comment section and in general in this video. So let's get straight to it. Within this episode, the way that I kind of go about it is discussing each and every one of the characters. One of the new characters we got introduced in this episode was Titan. Now, this character is portrayed by Mahershala Ali. Damn, I really butchered that. Mahershala Ali. Ali is one of the best actors working today, and he's really much like, no matter what he does, like Spider-Verse, he voiced his voice as well to that show and played Uncle Aaron and gave such a powerful presence in there. And he does the same thing within Invincible as well. Just his mannerisms, just his voice, he portrays a lot, and you get a lot from Titan and understand a lot of things that come about him. And the thing that's really made me recognize in Invincible is how important every single character is in the show. I mean, every single person is so important to the entire story, and there's so many things going on, and there's so many things that are connecting and not connecting, but you're wondering how it's going to be. And it's been doing this ever since episode 1, but it does it in such a fascinating way that it doesn't feel convoluted. It feels like an actual comic, ripped off the comic page and thrown onto the screen. And that's something that I've been so impressed with so far inside the show, is how they've been able to keep up that pacing and being really much intrigued and interested in every single character and storyline. And maybe that's maybe that's just me, because Mark Grayson is such a relatable character. I feel like Mark Grayson. Like, if I was a character, if I was a superhero, I would probably be Mark Grayson, trying to balance your normal life and your relationship, and just in general, his mannerisms, how he apologizes. He is literally me, and Yeun just brings that to life as well as a voice actor in here, and I'm absolutely just in love with it. Jumping back over to Titan, though, again, we get to know some about his family, which I thought was an interesting aspect, making us really care. And by the end of this episode, where he ends up at, I was like, damn, this is, again, adding to that intrigue and building off a character that starts off and you're like, oh, this is going to be a pretty cool henchman. And even though he has that cool concrete power, there's a lot more to him in this show that I very much was interested in. And especially the main, like, every week kind of has that villain of the week episode type feel, but there's so much to the stories involved and so much of the characters that you actually are intrigued throughout the entire way through. Now, jumping into, of course, Mark Grayson, our person here, he is messing up his relationship back and forth, being late, not being able to balance his school life, his relationship with his girlfriend, all sorts of things like that. But this episode, again, I talk about how relatable he is, how his relationship with Amber really works, and how he's trying to make it work and make school work. But something that we really get in here is, of course, his relationship again with his father. Now, we get that great opening scene of them training together and him holding the guy, and he gets, like, you gotta scare him a little bit. You can't just be like, oh, I know how to do this. And he just drops the dude, and I was laughing. Like, the comedy in here hits really hard as well, and it's just been so smart how they've been able to really work through this entire show in such a stylistic manner. And that was one of the moments that really just put a big smile on my face, and the training between them both, Yeun and J.K. Simmons, just works and wonders. And, of course, moving along a little bit more in here, of course, with Mark Grayson, he starts, he's telling his dad, they're sitting at the table with his mom after the Gravel Man, Titan, very much shows him what is important, what are we supposed to be doing in this world, how are we supposed to be combining and coming together in this. You're up high, but you're not thinking down low. And I think for me, while Gravel Man and Titan, I keep saying Gravel Man because that's what I assume. I think of the thing when I think of him. I very much think it's really interesting because, in a sense, he did use Mark. But at the same time, he needed Mark for what he needed to do. And at the same time, time will tell is it better where Titan is now, or would it have been better just to leave this robot guy in charge, which was really eccentric and unique, and I liked, again, that villain of the week type thing. But with Mark, the thing that he has that discussion with Omni-Man, his father, and of course his mother brought into it, which again, a mother character for me sometimes can be that character that's that side character that's important but not too important. But Sandra Oh playing Debbie Grayson brings this family element to life in a really unique way. And again, goes back to every character is important. And I love her in this show. And again, telling him what I think you should do, and then him sleeping on it, and of course kind of fighting back on Omni-Man. Like, no, when you came here, I was the one that taught you how to do all this. I was the one that showed you humanity. And it really hits you in the heart and the soft spots in quite a bit of ways. But of course, Mark Grayson, you know, he decides, I'm going to help Titan. We're going to take out this guy together. And of course, going back, you know, he promises Amber Bennett one more time, hey, I promise I'll be there. We knew he wasn't going to make it. That was just the typical thing. But Eve, who I really starting to like as well, gets that whole thing with her father being a dick and blah, 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 which, fuck his father. Let Eve do whatever she wants. She decides, oh, hey, yeah, I'll go. They have this great conversation. We can tell Eve is very much on his side. Like, Mark Grayson, I know what he's doing. And I think a lot of us are just going, Mark, just tell Amber at this point. Like, if you truly care about her, I get it. You want to keep her safe, stuff like that. You just got to tell her, dude. She will understand. You are a hero. We'll get it. We'll get it. You are invincible, which, if you guys have noticed, the logo, every time, it gets bloodier and bloodier. So, like, by the end of the season, I think, what, we got 6, 7, 8, 3 episodes left. Is it going to be completely totaled in blood? Probably. But rounding out about that, of course, we knew he wasn't going to show up. He ends up going to that penthouse, and man, oh man, does it ensue to one of the craziest action scenes that we have gotten yet in this show. So many beautiful and touching and honestly impactful things happen in here that, again, made my jaw hit the floor. And again, that action scene that it leads into is fantastic. I mean, I never thought of some of the things that would happen, but they do. And if you've seen the episode, you know definitely what I'm talking about. But it's emotional, it's heart-wrenching, it's brutal, it's bloody, and it's very vicious. It doesn't shine away, and you are on edge the entire way through. Of course, again, they come up out on top. That's the best thing, but they are critically in danger. And we know Omni-Man sees this and goes, yeah, I know what's going on. Eve, of course, gets a call as well, and she tells Amber, he loves you. Trust me. There's a lot of stuff you don't know yet, and goes off. And, you know, that's now I'm anticipating next week's episode. I need next week's episode, and I need to get to the end of this season. Like, I wish I had this entire season to binge, but having to sit on it week to week is one of the biggest things that I absolutely love so far, and that's what's making Invincible such a great time. And if you didn't get to check out the mid-credit scene, make sure to go back and check out that, because I think that's going to tie in heavily well towards the end. And again, I have the first compendium of the comics. I need to start reading it, but I'm also like love being surprised by every single little thing. So if you do read the comics, let me know down below how close it is to it. From the comics that I have read, it seems like they've changed quite a bit, but Mark Grayson, especially the characters, are very much their own selves. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot that happens in this episode, and I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts and just theories and discussions all down below in the comment section as well. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. Head on over to Sandwich on Films on how to see films early. And of course, just a big thank you to you and a big thank you to my Patreon supporters, because without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. Thank you guys once again, and what a fantastic episode this was to all jump into. So guys, thank you, and have a great rest of your day.